Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is your boy JJ. First off, I just wanted to extremely apologize to anyone who always been watching my videos on my YouTube channel because over the weekend I had spent my time, taking time away, spending time with spending time with the rest of my family up north. Just have a little bit of me time, spending time with the rest of my family. And that's why I didn't really get a chance to make a video review talking about WWE SUMMERSLAM this year, 2026, for both nights. Oh, but don't worry, because now that I'm back, I now finally got a chance to talk about my review on WWE SUMMERSLAM of 2026, so this year. I got a chance to watch, both night one and night two of SummerSlam. Now, granted, I'm only going to be talking about some of the matches that I did actually care about, because I'm not actually going to be talking about all the matches from both cards of SummerSlam. But first off, I just want to point out, shout out to BC Amplify for mentioning how many section row seats are going to be filled. Because I know for the fact that it's mostly going to be tarped off at the US Bank Stadium. Granted that it can actually hold up to over 70,000 people. And for WWE SummerSlam, they have only sold out, 30,000 or 29,000, 32,000 tickets. Because, they always going to be comping tickets for 25% off, giving tickets away for this type of event. Again, shout out to BC Amplify for pointing this out, because it was mostly the middle left section that was actually tarped off, and the other side where the camera angles are at, and it was literally tarped off by a second, bro. I mean, just look at these images. It's literally the middle and left section rows that are tarped off, as you can see here in these images. This is exactly what happened at WrestleMania 42. Because you still have a bunch of empty seats that's still available to purchase your tickets. Even though they're comping tickets out, giving them away for free, 25% off. And I know that every time they're going to have a WWE legend coming out or a WWE Hall of Famer coming out, making a record-breaking attendance numbers. I am so glad that they did not do that for SummerSlam, because they know that they're embarrassed and not always lying through their teeth. They know how much tickets that's actually sold, because half of the arena in the US Bank Stadium is immediately tarped off. Because shout out to the fans that actually did not show up. They're smart, bruh. They are legitimately smart for not showing up to these WWE events, until the doofus son-in-law, a.k.a. Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, until he does better. So again, shout out to BC Amplify for pointing this out. Shout out to the real true WWE fans that did not care about coming to this SummerSlam event. Because let me tell you something. The build-up for SummerSlam for both night one and night two, it was horrible. It sucked. And some of them for the championship matches, like, for example, the night one SummerSlam card, you had, some filler matches and some matches that actually did not make any sense at all for the build-up. Like, for example, Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. We all knew who's going to win that anyway, because, of course, surprise, surprise, it's not Io, but Liv Morgan. Because remember, Triple H always has his favorites. He don't want, to make the fans happy by choosing who they want to win. Triple H always got his favorites, especially Gunther versus Nick Aldis. That was actually a good match. It was, Nick Aldis' first time back in a wrestling ring in, 5 years? 4 years, actually. And of course, they they had Gunther beat Nick Aldis because ain't no way Triple H is gonna have his favorite Gunther lose to Nick Aldis back since he came back to professional wrestling. Fatal Influence versus Brie, Nikki, and Paige. Nobody cares about that match at all. But I know most people do care about this one. The third final match between Brock Lesnar and Obafemi in a steel cage match. This match was actually pretty good. Some spots between them, and they had a lot of good chemistry. Both Brock and Obafemi. They did what they had to do inside the steel cage, jobbing back and forth, filling the spot. And that spot where Brock had tear the ring where the wood's at under the rope, underneath the ring, where as he was about to do, his final F5 onto Obafemi. Check this. He immediately switched it by turning it into a freaking tombstone. Like, literally, I'm not joking. Brock Lesnar immediately, legitimately, turned his F5 into a freaking tombstone. And he actually landed perfectly. Man, I know for a fact Undertaker is watching somewhere. Seeing Brock Lesnar turn it into a tombstone. Man, I know that gotta make Undertaker happy, man. Cause you already know those two had history. Cause WrestleMania 30, how he defeated Undertaker's undefeated streak, 21-1. So, but yeah, kudos to Brock Lesnar for actually selling it. Kudos to Brock Lesnar for actually turning it into a tombstone. Kudos to Obafemi for some reason kicking out of it by selling it. And of course, at the end, as everyone was hoping, Obafemi had finally picked up the win, even though he botched that spot where he should have, Oba-bombed Brock Lesnar in the middle of the ring where the wood was at as Brock Lesnar had tear it open. Yeah, he had botched that, but hey, still congrats to Obafemi. And I really hope that this is finally the end of these two feuding. And at the end, guess what? They had shown mutual respect. And Obafemi had cut an interview saying that he is now the future because the ruler is here. So yeah, they had a good match. Of course they did. It was really good. Really good chemistry between these two. Even though Obafemi is still a long way to go, even though he is main event ready, but that's what most people say. But the real question is, can Triple H not screw this up with Obafemi again by having to be playing another, open challenge or tournament match? Hopefully not. And then we get to the other match, which is the 6-man tag match between the Usos and Jacob Fatu versus the team of Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys, and my guy, L.A. Knight. Yeah. And to my surprise, they actually had L.A. Knight beat the Usos by taking one for the team, by pinning Jey Uso in the middle of the ring, and picking up the victory for his team. I'm actually shocked that they actually had L.A. Knight win this time. Even though putting him up with Solo, him tag teaming with Solo didn't make any sense at all because, they having L.A. Knight stuck in this vortex for no reason. We all thought it would be over like a year and a half ago for L.A. Knight. But yeah, this was a nice, good match. Good six-man tag team match between L.A. Knight's team and Jacob Fatu's team. This was mostly just yeeting, mostly because of, Solo Sikoa and not Jey Uso. Because, he's mocking Jey Uso, how people are sick and tired of the yeeting every 15 minutes, every Monday Night Raw episode. Yeah, I'm glad Jey Uso, I'm actually glad that Solo Sikoa made fun of Jey Uso, just like how L.A. Knight made fun of Jey Uso before. When he was when they're both within the King of the Ring tournament. But yeah, LA Knight's team finally picked up the W. Another huge win for LA Knight. And I really hope and pray this means we're going forward by not having LA Knight stuck in his bloodline vortex again, bro. It's finally time for LA Knight to win Money in the Bank briefcase. So that way he can finally be put in the main event scene. Even though Roman Reigns is still, the world heavyweight champion. But still, just have LA Knight finally win the freaking briefcase already, Triple H. Seriously. Stop stalling. Stop gaslighting. Everyone waited long enough for LA Knight. It's finally time to put the briefcase on LA Knight. And finally, here comes the main event. You got Pepsi Phil, a.k.a. CM Punk, versus the African-American Nightmare, Cody Raheem Rose. A battle between friendship. I like you. I love you. I respect you. Can these two finally settle their differences? That's what Michael Cole always say. Can these two coexist? But Michael, shut up. Listen, I know the build-up was so bad between these two. No matter if it's Raw and SmackDown, mostly SmackDown. But I'm not going to lie, these two had such a really good match. Like, you can never take that away from Punk and Cody. But hey, this is really a huge moment for everyone right here. Because you actually have the returning Mr. RKO himself. One of the greatest of all time finally returned since WrestleMania 42, Randy Orton. He need Cody with the RKO. So that Punk can pick up the victory retaining for his undisputed championship. Because I know Randy had never forgot what happened at WrestleMania 42. Especially when you have Pat McAfee involved, which is such a stupid idea. Thanks a lot, Triple H, Paul Levesque. But yeah, I'm so happy to see Randy Orton again. Which I knew from the jump from the past 2 months ago, they had to have Randy come back, bro. There ain't no way you're going to end that feud horribly between Randy and Cody. By having Pat McAfee in the mix. It just didn't make any sense. But I'm so glad we are back in square one for these two. Hoping that Triple H actually booked it right this time. And I know Kevin Owens is well, speaking of Kevin Owens, we're going to get to Kevin Owens, trust me. And that's where Night 2 comes in. Now, again, I'm not going to talk about all the matches, because what is there to talk about? What? Trick versus a returning Baron Corbin, which, spoiler alert, Baron Corbin actually picked up the victory. Why? Who asked for Baron Corbin to come back? Literally nobody. Like, you could just have Carmelo Hayes in this. Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. Like, come on, bro. Read the room, Triple H. That's why y'all suck in creative. Freaking Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. Money on the pole match. Like, who cares about this again? That's a real question. The only matches that I actually watched, Penta versus Gable, Finn versus Sammy, turned into a fatal four-way, which we're still going to get to that. The women's ladder match and the main event between, Reigns versus Rollins. So here we are in the fatal four-way match. You got Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. Then Nick Aldis came out making a triple threat match with having Gunther coming out, a.k.a. he's the one who beat Nick Aldis at night 1. Then a fatal four-way match. And to which everyone's surprised, you have the returning prize fighter himself, Kevin Owens. Returning from his neck injury, he got such a huge pop from the crowd. Sammy looked like he had seen a ghost. Man, I tell you, it's so glad to see Kevin Owens back. He hasn't been the same since Kevin Owens had got injured. It really hasn't been the same since Kevin Owens was a part with the company. And I'm so glad that at the end, bruh, they actually had Kevin Owens beat Sami Zayn in the middle of the ring during the fatal four-way match. He now punched his ticket as the number 1 contender for the Undisputed Championship. Uh-oh. Watch out, CM Punk. This is going to be a huge dream match for the ages. I can tell. I know this is going to feed families for sure. Are you kidding me? Punk versus Owens. The best in the world versus the prize fighter. Like, come on, bro. Literally a huge dream match right there. I just really hope they learn how to book it correctly between these two going forward on SmackDown, and not just having them say words in the ring, kind of a freaking segment. Triple H and them, y'all gotta stop being lazy every time and learn to be more creative. Why don't you? And then we get to the women's ladder match for the interim women's undisputed championship that Rhea Ripley had held because she was injured. And to everyone's shocking surprise, Chelsea Green have finally did it by finally capturing the women's undisputed championship. I'm so glad that Chelsea won it. Chelsea Green legitimately deserved this moment. All the crap that Triple H and Michael P.S. Hayes had talked about her, that her job is to get the other talents over, make the other talents look good. Well, guess what? Triple H and Michael P.S. Hayes, I think y'all need to apologize to Chelsea. It's about time they start making some new changes around here for the women's division. Chelsea deserved it. And speaking for someone who deserving it, freaking Chad Gable has finally won the IC championship. Man, let me tell you, Chad Gable, he came a long way. The story with Penta, which there was no story at all on Monday Night Raw, they just had Penta go out there, defend the title with no actual storyline for it, making the title irrelevant. All for freaking gymnastic spots until Chad Gable came around. But this is literally what they need to do with Chad Gable after finally winning the IC championship. Put on actual storylines. I'm so glad for Chad Gable winning that title, for real. Then finally we get to the main event between Rollins and Roman Reigns for the 30th time. No storyline, but just there's history between these two. I know how hilarious it is that they just had Rollins go out there, challenge Roman for the title for one last time after he had lost the King of the Ring tournament. And they had him beat Braun Breaker, twice? 3 times, I believe. Man, look, this match was great because Roman and Rollins, they did their thing in the ring, as always. But we honestly could have had Roman Reigns versus Obafemi or Roman versus Braun Breaker, if you ask me. But yeah, these two had did what they could. That they know each other so well for years in the making. And I know, surprise, surprise, of course, Roman Reigns ended up pinning Seth Rollins because they know way they're gonna have Roman lose to Rollins so that he can have to take another 2, 3, 4 month hiatus if he's actually injured again. If he's actually hurt, just like how Roman and LA Knight have pointed out on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, Roman Reigns retained, and yeah, that's it. Nothing else, but they did a little, fist bump. Taking it back to the glory days of the Shield. And, Dean Ambrose, he's no longer, of course, he's not part of WWE anymore. He's in AEW as, Jon Moxley. But I really hope that they don't do this again. Please end this chapter. We don't need to keep rinse and repeating the same old feud between these two again, just because they had history. Just like Brock versus Roman Reigns. Let's move on to something new. Give us Oba versus Roman by the time WrestleMania 43 comes up. And I really hope they do something with LA Knight going forward. Because, they need to have LA Knight cut a promo on Roman Reigns. Have those two cut a segment on one another on Monday Night Raw. Please do not botch this going forward for Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, SummerSlam as a whole, it was decent. It was mid. If I had to give it a grade, I'm probably going to give it a C plus, a B minus, or a C plus, which that's actually generous. Because again, y'all know that the half of the arena is not that sold out. It's still tarped off. Because fans knew they're gonna get scammed for a summer scam. So, but yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. Do you guys watch SummerSlam? Did you guys get a chance to watch SummerSlam? If you didn't, then hey, I don't blame you. Because it was actually predictable. And I know that I can't blame myself because again I was spending time with my family, up north, taking time away. But yeah, I still had a good weekend with the rest of my family. So, but I still try to watch SummerSlam. So, not all of it, but some that I feel interested in watching. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about this. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.